guys. Last week my family and I went to Japan on a holiday, and I must say we had a great time there. Today I'm going to be sharing with you reasons why you should visit a country that does not speak your language. So I barely know Japanese. I only know a few words and phrases in Japanese, like Ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, arigatou gozaimasu, and a few others. So when you go to a country not knowing their language, it's definitely going to be a challenge, but it's not that difficult really to get your point across and to communicate effectively. I know many people out there are skeptical about visiting a country that does not speak your language because obviously there's going to be that communication barrier, and if you're going to ask for directions, you do not know whether that person has understood you correctly and whether he's going to give you the answer to your question. But I must say there are several benefits to visiting a country that does not speak your language, and today I'm going to share with you 3 benefits that I read from visiting Japan, a country that does not speak my language. Okay, so let's start with the first benefit of visiting a country that does not speak your language. So the first benefit is that your creativity in communication is enhanced. To help you understand this point better, I'm going to give you a comparison. So let's say if you visit a country that speaks your language, you wouldn't have to use much creativity in communication because you're just going to use verbal communication. Because whatever you say, the other person is going to understand. But when you visit a country that does not speak your language, you can't just rely on verbal communication, because if you're going to use complete sentences in your language, the other person is not going to understand you. So what you have to do is identify keywords that will help you get your point across. Secondly, you'll have to use apps such as Google Translate. So what I did when I was in Japan is I would type in a sentence or a phrase on Google Translate in English, and then translate that in Japanese and then show it to the person so that he would understand what I'm saying. Another way that my creativity was enhanced during my time in Japan was the use of images. So if, let's say, I had to get to a particular place, if I was not able to pronounce the name correctly, or if I was not able to explain to the person where I wanted to go, I would show him the image of that location through my phone. The second benefit of visiting a country that doesn't speak your language is that it makes you more observant and alert. So when I was in Japan, I just couldn't rely on my sense of hearing. Whatever announcements were being made were mostly in Japanese, and I wouldn't understand much. So I had to be more observant. I had to keep a lookout on where I was and whether I was going in the right direction. So let's say I was in a train and announcements were being made in Japanese, then I'd have to look out of the train to make sure that we were going in the right direction to our destination. Additionally, to understand the culture, I would observe people on how they were greeting each other, what were the gestures that they were using. So that way I was able to get a flavor of the Japanese culture. So in Japan, people would bow, they would greet the other person, and then start the conversation. The third benefit of visiting a country that doesn't speak your language is that it prepares you for uncertainties in life. So as you know, translation is not 100% accurate. So even if, let's say, I use Google Translate or any other translation apps to get my point across, I knew that a bit of what I was trying to communicate would be lost in translation. So I was mentally prepared that the information that I was getting from the other person could be incomplete, or that there was ambiguity in what was being communicated. So I would be prepared for detours during the trip. But the positive point is that it prepares you for these uncertainties because you don't take things for granted. Right? So you have to probably rely on 2-3 sources just to make sure that the information you got is right. You'll also be better prepared if things don't go the way you wanted them to. And that's a very important lesson that I've learned, because in life, things don't always go as planned. So when we come across such situations, instead of beating ourselves up, we just have to be prepared for such uncertainties. and be ready to move on. So these are the three reasons to visit a country that does not speak your language. There are going to be challenges, of course, like I mentioned earlier, but you get to learn a lot. And not only do you enhance your creativity in communication, it makes you more observant and alert, and also prepares you for uncertainties in life. So the next time you think about going to a country that does not speak a language, don't think twice. Go for it and make the most of it.